Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Let's talk about something fun and nice first of all. What can we talk about?
rather than
No,
solar
don't tell them yet.
flares. So I always thought I thought solar flares.
We're not going straight to solar.
No, hang on.
Well, you've had a shave.
I thought solar
look
flares.
nice.
I thought solar flares were sunny trousers. Yellow trousers.
You look nice. You've had a shave. Yeah. I think we should do our How to Stay Married podcast on when we let ourselves go.
Okay, well, that's a good one. Have we let ourselves go?
We've let ourselves go. We
let
totally
ourselves
have.
Go? There we go. We've just stumbled across our subjects in the most unlikely
of ways.
Over
lockdown, we've let ourselves go.
Have we let ourselves go? How are we all?
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, before we start wittering on about global events and ourselves, how are you?
And also, can we, did you enjoy the Sunday show, family members guests? Did you enjoy the Sunday show? I felt a little bit... I answered
some of your comments, but I'm going to look and answer some more.
I need to make an apology. I feel I should make an apology. Oh. I just felt that the opening piece of camera was a bit crude about the erection behind your head.
Right.
And I think that people come there not for that sort of thing. And so I'm acknowledging that. So
Did people complain?
No one's complained. But I just felt it when I was watching it. You know, you look back and you think,
well, yeah, you are very crude.
I know. I'm taking ownership
You're
of it,
over
and
the top.
I'm acknowledging that it was a bit too much. So I apologise.
Like a schoolboy.
But I think the rest of the show, I have to say, someone commented on how much they liked my book review. Please read that book. It's an absolutely
Tell people that aren't
accessible...
members what the name of the book is.
So the book is Summer Water, and it's by Sarah Moss. And
he's been banging on about this book.
And I read it in virtually 2 sittings. It looked like I wasn't going to hit my deadline. Because I'm doing all the other editing, I'm always falling behind with reading my book for the week, because there's always a book review. And it glided through it. I mean, I use the analogy that it was like an ice cream scoop through Ben & Jerry's. That's how easy it was. A warm ice cream scoop.
Yes, whose book is it this week?
Nanny dies.
Yeah,
Nanny dies. She's slightly frustrated because I said to her, "Oh, check out the Sunday show. You're going to be really interested in the book I've reviewed. It's not the one I said I was reviewing." I got a squeal text back going, "You pig! That was the book I was going to review."
Oh no! So you had a fight.
So we had a book fight.
Have you put anything in the vlog yet of Teddy with his shoes?
Nothing has gone in yet with that. No, we're coming.
Some
we're coming
really
to all
funny
of that.
stuff.
Got some brilliant stuff coming up.
Can you put that down a bit, babe? My head's like
this.
Yeah,
well, hang on. I'm going to put it here, so we can see it on here. Would you not like that? Don't have to look up there. Look here.
Yeah, we don't. But we have to look into the camera there so they can see us.
Well, yes, of course you can. Okay, well, okay.
That's our camera.
Excuse me.
That is our camera.
Excuse me. We've discovered that our book comes out on the busiest book day for books. Something like 550 other books being reviewed.
Yeah.
So at the very least, if you're just like going like past something in a window, you're definitely going to see that colour, aren't you? Someone
500 books.
Jesus Christ.
Talk about competition.
Talk about competition. I wonder how many are about homeschooling. You look cosy today, Nadia, says Gabrielle.
I'm in my dressing gown that Mark hates.
Alice McMichael, happy in new home, moved house last week. Jodie, I saw you talking there, sending all of my love to you. I wasn't really on the live for
Poor thing.
your sad news. I'm really sorry. So a week of highs and lows.
12 years old her dog was.
Don't. I remember when I must have been about 12 years old when I was away from home or whatever, anyway. And the neighbours were looking after our dogs, and my dog Missy, which was a miniature pincher, was found dead in my mum's bedroom, and one of the other dogs had obviously just done that snap and hit her in the jugular, and she bled out. I mean, at any age, the loss of dogs. I'm just saying. I remember it was they often say that pets are your first experience of mortality, and my God, that was the most upsetting and distressing thing I could ever remember. It was so sad. So sad. It was very dramatic. I remember getting the call from our dear neighbour, Graham. Very fond of Graham, our neighbour. Graham and Alison. God, I wonder what they're up to. Graham, who used to be the manager of an unemployment benefit office where I worked in the summers. Julie Neal, I'm determined. So no, Jodie, sending big love. And nothing we say is going to make up for the loss of your dog, but my God, sending all our love. You know, the dogs, you know, pets are funny, aren't they? We sort of take a very sort of cursory attitude to them once they're in your life. They're just there, and sometimes they're a pain, and it's like, oh God, I've got to do it. And yet, when my nanny Thelma died, Toffee was really important to me, actually. I took her down to the bungalow a couple of times.
Whenever I'm sad, they find me.
Yeah, the dogs know when we're down. Yeah, Larry Jones, you love our dogs. I love our dogs too. Chi-Chi. There she is. guarding her.
We're going to go for a WALK
I bloody hope
later.
so. Bloody hope so. Vivek123, love to India. Love from India, love to India. I hope you're coping with COVID. I know that every country's kind of become very insular about what their circumstances are because they're just surviving. But I know that India was struggling quite a bit recently. So yeah, big hugs, Jodie. They asked, Sarah Smithard, that's such a good way of putting it. There's so much pleasure and they are so much pain. They really are. They really are. If you're not a member of the family member area, we have a little section in the Sunday show called Who Let the Dogs Out, where the dogs star in their own little silent movie every week. And I have to say, I really enjoy filming it.
Lots of people love that.
A lot of people really like that. It was a late addition to the Sunday show. You can join, there's a join somewhere. And it really is quite charming.
Yeah.
I find it
Look
really
at you,
sweet.
you're a different person now you've shaved.
In what way?
It's very bad when you don't shave.
Oh.
I dread the days when you're really unshaven.
Oh. Oh dear.
Because you're miserable. Ask the women on here how they feel when their husband doesn't
Okay,
shave.
women on here who are with male partners, how do you feel when your partners get dishevelled and don't shave? Do they become crabby, awkward, annoyed? But here's the thing that I don't understand. If women are allowed to tell men that something like being unkempt and uncared for is a reason for their mood, why are men not allowed to say at that time of the month that might be a reason for your mood? It's not allowed. Look, I mean, I'm literally getting daggers now. Why is this a taboo? Never understood this. Never understood this. When I was a boy, we used to have a hall that connected my room to the front room, which also was Nanny Di's room. And on the walls in that hall, Nanny Di, not too dissimilar to Kiki's room in many regards. I grew up with, Nanny Di had this compulsion to stick things to walls. I mean, literally with drawing pins, sellotape. She once redecorated, and when I say redecorated, that sounds like she was decorating. She didn't. She had a paintbrush and a pot and just happened to sort of just reach out and move it up and down. She decorated part of the kitchen, but she didn't take any of the things she'd pinned to the wall. She painted round the photos. So not only did you, if you took the pictures off, have all the marks of where the pictures were on the wall, so you had a silhouette, but all the pictures, if they were actual photographs or whatever, had paint all over them because she didn't, yeah. Paula Farron, you like a beard. I'll have a read through those. But here's the thing. So the wall was a montage, and it could account for why, really, if I distill my directing and filmmaking and program making experience, it all comes down to editing and montages. This is probably where I get it from, just seeing so many images all around me all the time. But there used to be so many images of things like, get this, menstruating animals, baby animals, poems about blood, because she was an activist, feminist activist, championing the female body and all that kind of stuff. So about the age of 8...
What's that got to do with the menstruating hamster?
I don't know, I could never make that connection either. But around the age of 8, I crafted this sign on my door, and it put menstrual-free zone. And it had a line through something that looked like a cigarette, but was a Tampax with the smoke coming off it.
That's really funny.
Because I'd seen the no smoking. So it was
really
like a no Tampax zone. There you go. It's a long way of telling a story. But it was very funny. She used to have poems that said, the blood, the dripping blood, the blood, it pours from my womb. And I'd be like, oh my God, is this woman dying? What is going on?
I've only just gotten you, fella, says Kay Ray.
Oh.
I don't mind dishevelled, rugged, or neat and dapper.
But I bet you don't like smelly. Do you not like, I bet you don't like smelly. I mean, some women like smelly.
Oh, some women do.
Do they? Like really rank.
Oh, Sophie Lee, my heart goes out to you. My husband is growing a beard at the moment. I'm not a fan, but he loves it. Oh, God.
You know, germs-wise, beards aren't good.
I think that's a bit much to grow a beard if your partner really doesn't like a beard. It's like, say I wanted to have my head shaved really short and you really, really hated it. I wouldn't do it. Not because you've told me or because you own me or because... But just you've got to look at me more than I've got to look at me.
But where is that control and where is that?
Well, I just think it's a nice thing. I think it's just like, oh, do you really hate short hair? Right. Or don't...
But if I was to say to you, I don't like you wearing that dress because it reveals too much of your tits, you'd say to me, don't tell me that.
Yeah, I would.
So it's very hard to know.
And it's like this dressing gown. You hate this dressing gown, but I really, really like it.
Let me
I
am
going
design
to
that dressing gown. I think the dressing gown in and of itself is lovely. It's just very odd. It makes me think of Bette Lynch.
Yeah, but I really love
I
it.
think you need a fag and you need to be behind a bar.
Well, you have to buy me a really nice new one, won't you? Snuggly, though.
Snuggly.
It's got to be snuggly.
Well, I've got a snuggly one with a mister on it somewhere, but it keeps being used by Kiki. She keeps wandering around with it.
Right, shall
So,
we move on to the bloody news?
No, let me just tell you about, has anyone, guys, if I say solar flares, what does that mean to you?
I literally had never heard of them. Well, I'd heard of them, but I'd never thought about them until you told me.
I'm really fascinated.
If you
Where
don't-
had you heard of them?
Well, I've just heard the word solar flare, but I've just never
Have you?
thought it. I've just thought sun hits a solar panel and then you get a flare.
Oh, I see. So maybe like a flare in your lens.
A flare, yeah, a flare off a solar panel. That's what
okay.
I thought it is.
Well, here's the thing, guys.
If you want to turn off, you can,
Yeah.
because it's not good news.
So scientists at NASA
I hate it when you say scientists
not
in
NASA.
NASA,
Actually-
because it means it's going to be true.
Not NASA, the National
Oh.
Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It's like NASA, but it's called NOAA.
But for the sea.
Well, for
Is
the,
it the
for the planet
equivalent?
and the atmosphere.
Right.
They've noticed some pretty powerful, what they call solar flares erupting from the sun's surface.
Right, and the solar flare is.
And a solar flare is like well, here you go, it says here. The sun isn't exactly heading in Earth's direction, but it could graze our planet's magnetic field. These are like storms on the surface of the sun. It's like
Storms on the surface
yeah,
of the
but if you
sun.
imagine that the sun is just this huge gaseous thing of heat and flame and fire, a storm is going to be an intense and even a sort of concentrated eruption. And a solar flare, if you imagine you've got when you see images of the sun, it's always doing that, slightly bubbling, isn't it? Bubbling, yeah?
Yeah.
And
It goes.
That's just like that. They quiver,
the
a
sun
little bit
again.
like your cleavage. They just quiver. And it quivers. And every now and then, something will burst out of it, like a lick, like a volcano when
flare.
it erupts. A flare.
A tongue lick.
Yeah, and what is microscopic to the sun,
Microscopic.
I mean microscopic,
Like nothing. Like
Yeah.
a droplet.
like microscopic, scientists are saying could completely wipe out all of our satellite and tech systems, throwing us into a complete technological Armageddon. And apparently this is, and it was in the papers at the weekend, I didn't want to ruin everyone's fun actually yesterday, but
Can I
they're
just
saying...
say quickly, John Jenkins, sorry about your back out, in case we don't see it again.
Oh,
Yeah.
back out.
He's put his back
Oh,
out,
you're
and
back.
that's bloody
I've got my
miserable.
shoulders killing me from when I ran
Oh
to
my
try and
God.
get... What?
Sorry, I just felt weird again.
Solar flare. Was it a solar flare?
I don't know.
Anyway, I'm wondering whether we're having Wi-Fi issues because of minor solar flares. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right now, but my brain felt like it had moved.
Do you ever get flutterings in your chest like a sort of fish
Yes.
jumping? That's
Yes.
not good. That's not good. Apparently, you need to see a doctor.
Really? Who said that?
Well, I was reading it in the book that I was reading. Apparently, there's a GP in it.
I get that.
Yeah, I get that sometimes when I used to run. It would
get
be,
it
it would be
here.
like literally your heart's flipped over.
Yeah.
It's like a little fish gone.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
does it mean?
It's not good.
Oh, God.
See a doctor.
I don't want to see a doctor.
So there you go. So my advice is do nothing because we can't do anything about that one. All computers wiped out, Jennifer Kando.
Where
That's
can we
right.
read about these flares, says Zoe Foster?
Go to you can go to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. National Geographic did a piece on it last week as well. Nat Geo is a very good, I used to work for Nat Geo, and they're very good at doing really meaningful studies on the stuff that's happening in the background of everything else, very unsensationalist. So yeah, online. Mark, don't panic her. Are you panicked about solar flares? I don't think you are. I think
No, they're
almost...
talking about my fluttering fish.
Oh, I see. Sorry, we haven't got a fluttering fish.
I have now.
You haven't
I
yet
can
a fluttering
feel it.
brain.
Oh my God, now I've got a headache.
Was it the talk of quivering cleavage?
Mark!
What's happened to your eyes?
I don't want solar flares. They sound horrible.
I think they look really nice with a tie-dye
That
top.
means, I tell you what it will mean. I mean, no more YouTube.
Yeah, we'll be out. That's
We'll be
it.
out.
It's gone. Done.
I want to get my How to Do McCurly hair method up before our YouTube is lost. What if we lose all our 100,000 subscribers that we worked so hard to get?
Well, they're not going to be vaporised. They just won't
Of
get to
course
see
they
us.
will.
We'll have to invite
Oh,
them round.
YouTube,
We'll have to invite
everything
you
will
all round.
collapse. Everything will collapse.
Amber Grindley gets a heart flutter at night. Too much caffeine. Don't worry, Nad. You're overthinking it now, Lucy.
I am
Rose.
overthinking
We
it.
are overthinking
I
it.
need a painkiller.
Anyway, more importantly, it looks like exams, the Labour Party are pushing for exams to be scrapped next year. We talked about this in the Sunday show, but that's the big news of today, is that they're saying, and this is the thing, within the system, you know, given that the system
I
is
love you.
is so tight.
Clever.
I'm not just talking a load
You
of
are.
shit.
You're really clever, and I like that.
Oh, shut up! I'm just talking dribble.
You are.
no-
You know about solar flares,
I only
and you know about fish flutterers.
fish flutterers. I tell you what it is, it's just reading. You can't read too much. Just keep reading and reading, but also making sure that you read stuff and
Yeah, but I
cross-reference
read it, but then I don't bloody remember
Well, it's not
it.
about remembering, it's actually knowing whether it's true or not. It's very hard in this world to actually...
Yeah, to know what's true.
I mean, whenever we've had researchers, I've always had to say to them, you know, you can't just go to Wikipedia for your information. You have to get verification from various qualified, certified
Amber
sources.
Grimbley, just
Basic
take
journalists.
it one moment at a time. Amber's
Yeah.
enjoying last coffee mornings. She's got to
Oh.
go back to work after 6
Okay.
months, feeling really.
Well, coffee mornings might be
fluttering.
getting a bit earlier too. So, but here's the thing. What was I saying? Exams. You know, we're very anti that whole measuring system, but I think there's a very compelling argument to push back exams next year, because what's going to happen is there's going to be an inordinate amount of stress packed onto children and teachers within this term time to make up for what they sense they've not achieved. So, you know,
We don't want that. You know, they've been through so much. You don't want a sense of panic to learning as well, because what goes in, as we found with Kiki, you know, she was in this very, you know, nice private school, but she was in a constant state of panic and anxiety. So absolutely nothing was being remembered.
Yeah, exactly.
And the CBT counsellor explained to us that basically her brain's getting flooded with cortisol. And when you have cortisol flooding your brain, you can't take anything in.
Blind panic. It's literally the phrase blind panic.
Blind panic, yeah. So that is, we don't want that on any level for kids going back.
I always
to school.
remember
it's
when
not going to be useful.
It was really interesting when I worked with Mike Stroud, who was Ranulph Fiennes' doctor on his trip to the Antarctic. He presented a show of mine. Do you remember him? He was lovely, Mike.
Yeah.
Dr. Mike Stroud, very funny guy. He was our endurance expert and doctor, obviously, and he said that when you go through the historical development of the human body, how man used to run and walk on the savannah in Africa and all that kind of stuff. He said that the term blind panic is a real thing. He said that your body goes into a sort of systemic process of focusing on what's absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
And he said, so to flee,
To stay alive, yeah.
your 20/20 vision closes down at that point and you go
Yeah.
ahead. And if you
We've
think,
all felt that, haven't
yeah,
we?
yeah,
My
absolutely. And if
God.
you think when you go into a sort of sharp you go into a sharp focus when you see something awful happening, or if you're in a sort of running away from something situation, your 20/20 vision goes and it narrows down. So you can imagine that metaphorically and holistically for children, you panic an anxious child, quite
Oh my
literally their
God.
visibility is going to go down. I mean,
And that's what used to happen with some of the teachers with Kiki. They'd be
Yeah.
like, right, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. And I'm thinking, you have just lost her for the day, because she was panicking anyway. Now you've laid that on top of it.
Yeah.
And but I find that I can go two ways with that, where I can get a blind panic where I just can't focus on anything. Or I get this, and this is what you were like the other day when you had a difficult call, didn't you? And you came in here.
Oh my God.
And it was more like you were floating. You hadn't gone to blind panic. You were just, oh my God, I thought you were going to, I literally thought you were going to
I thought I was
pass
going to have a
out.
heart attack.
I thought you were going to have a
I
heart
was very close
And
to
you
a
were
heart
holding
attack.
your left
I was
hand.
holding my chest and there was a tightening in my chest. It was a very dramatic moment. Mandy Nanny, Kiki hasn't changed her mind about joining mainstream school.
No,
I don't know why.
No, but it's not this, she might think it was this September.
Oh, I
it's
see.
not till
Oh, right,
it's
so
a
it's
year.
until
It's a
2021.
year, yeah.
Do you think primary school kids should have homework? By the way, thanks guys. I'm seeing all your questions are coming up on the
No.
community page.
If I had my time again,
Yeah.
I would ban all homework for my children in primary school. It's not necessary. I really believe that.
Boom.
Boof.
An
Back of the net.
unambiguous answer to an unambiguous question.
So people are leaving questions already?
Yeah, they're coming.
great.
Yeah. So if we're doing a Q&A about homeschooling on Thursday on the channel.
Yeah, if you're not
If you're
interested,
not
guys,
interested,
don't join it, because you
obviously,
will be bored,
'cause I've
because that's
noticed-
all we're talking about.
I've noticed a few people leave comments going, I don't have kids, I'm not interested. I think taking the time to actually write that, why not just stop watching?
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's very weird. But don't bother, honestly. But if you do
'Cause you
want
will
to
be
ask
bored.
questions, even if it might be for someone else in your family, if you don't have children and things
Or
like
even
that.
if you don't have children, you know,
Yeah.
some people ask a lot, because the thing is, somebody said to me yesterday that they bought the book anyway, even though they hadn't got kids, because they wanted to read about it, and they felt that they'd never done well at school. And I said, well, you know what, the thing is, I think it is helpful for that, because you can go through the whole of your life, if you haven't been successful in school, thinking that you are an unsuccessful person. And we challenge that in the book. So it can be relevant even if you haven't got kids. So it might be of interest, but we won't be answering anything else other than homeschool.
Someone just asked, why no homework? Quick
We'll
answer?
discuss that on
We'll
Thursday.
discuss it on Thursday. Head over there, Anne.
I actually listened to a really good programme that Kay Adams did on her radio show.
That's not the Kay Adams.
The Kay Adams. And she had gathered together experts from across the country, and every single one of them said, nothing's going in. They're too young.
No.
That actually family time and play time, creative time, downtime, time to be bored, time to hang out with your mum and dad, time to hang out with your siblings is far more beneficial than, I mean, I used to be like night after night trying to squeeze these things into Kiki's head. She was already, but we talk about that in the book.
Yeah, and
I'm
also,
not going about it.
we're talking about homework for primary school children, not secondary
school.
Lynn Aoki, some good news. Just to let you know, my wee scone, Robin, is doing really well after her operation on Wednesday. She was in theatre from 10 till 5.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
What a trooper. Hope to get her home this week.
Oh.
Sending prayers.
Sending prayers
Love.
to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anne Murray, we've kind of slightly answered your question, but do join us on Thursday if you want a little bit more meat on the bones.
Oh,
so to
Belinda
speak.
Adams loved the cooking section in the No Name Sunday
It
show.
was lovely, wasn't it? And it was a
I
very
can't remember
short.
what it
was
was.
the cherry clafouti.
Oh, Clafouti.
Clafouti, and your clafouti dance was really good. I do like your little sort of turns.
I do
of
wish
the-
I'd cooked it in a thinner pot though, because I couldn't find my thing that I usually cook it in, and it was too thick, so it took too long.
Yeah. So my take on the pushing back of exams, I'm with the Labour Party. I think they should be pushed back. I think there's a compelling argument for those children who, it's all well and good from the outside saying exams aren't necessarily the right way forward at this stage for either one of our girls, but they might be for Kiki because she's going back to school. But it's very different for children who are in the system, who need to pass through the system. You know, there are two different things. I think there need to be complementary forms of education for different children. You should be able to pick and choose. There should be no judgment.
And there
should
shouldn't
be
be
support
judgment
for all
that you're
sorts.
smart if you are good
Yeah,
at these subjects and
exactly.
not smart if you're not. Look at that from Vicky Kensey. That's really... Now, what is year 11? How old are children in year 11?
I never know.
Because we don't follow the
No.
system.
He's been working
Probably
with
about
my husband.
16. My son's going to year 11. He's been working with my husband. We own a building company. He's loved learning a trade and really doesn't want to go
Boom.
back. You see, that is
Boom.
his essence. But you could homeschool. You could take him out.
15 to 16.
Yeah, you can take them out at any point.
Yeah.
And you know, he doesn't have to do GCSEs. You can do online learning, or you can share a tutor with other home ed people.
But here's the other thing. Anyone can learn anything at any point. I mean, you know, we have this system because we're wanting to occupy youngsters' time. Really, if I'm really honest, the reason we're trying to occupy, the reason it's become sort of mandatory that children have to stay in education for longer is because actually we have a less secure work environment and a less stable work
So they
environment.
don't know what to do with
So
them.
they don't really know. It's kind of delaying an inevitable sort of departure and arrival into the work jobs market.
Oh, Lorraine Salt. Oh, see, this just makes me just really want to cry, because this is what it was like for us for years. I have a son who's going into year 10. He's having so many panic attacks. It's really upsetting. And it's just a shadow over the whole family, isn't it? Would please join our Q&A on Thursday and just have a think, because you never know, then it might be a better option for you.
Sharona, a couple of people saying they didn't see the Sunday show. If you go to the community page, you'll see a post with a thumbnail, then you just click on it and it should play. Or go to the playlist Sunday show and the latest one should be there. Just wanted to mention it's the end of the Eat Out Help Out. Eat Out to Help Out is ending. A couple of controversies around this. One, lots of people would like it to carry on, but I guess it's costly for the government. Two, some restaurants are going to carry it on for themselves. So Pizza Hut are
think's
going to...
great.
Yeah, so how do they do that? How do they make that cost
Well,
effective?
because have you seen the price of a Domino's pizza?
So presumably
I
they
know
reckon...
the cost of these
Yeah.
ingredients and what it costs
So
to
what
make
they're
a pizza.
acknowledging is their margins are enormous.
Massively. But I suppose they need those big margins because the rents are astronomical. They need a lot of staff. They've reduced staff massively. I mean, I don't know what's happening with rents now. I don't know whether there's any help
Well,
from
lots of
government.
landlords are finding themselves buckling under their own debt because they can't enforce evictions.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got this terrible kind of
Oh, God, what a
two-way
bloody
pressure.
mess.
It's like a pencil move. By the way, guys, hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying having a little natter with us. We love seeing those thumbs up go up.
He's really changed since he shaved. You've come into, you'll be being a different person.
I feel like a thumbs up icon. I feel like that. Go on, hit it, and it makes me...
Hit it. Let's try and get to 200.
What was I going to say? So, but the other contentious thing around the whole eat out to help out is there are accusations
Thank
that
you,
many
guys.
restaurants
Fair
have reduced the size of their portions during it.
Yes,
Now, what
I've
do you think of
noticed that. Another thing that I've noticed as well, like when you order on Just Eat and stuff, you're getting paid for delivery now.
You're getting paid for delivery.
No, sorry, you're paying
charged.
for delivery.
Yeah, right. The Just Eat app is rubbish.
It's rubbish. I've
It's
stopped with
rubbish.
Just Eat. Well, no, maybe it's just me, but there's
Maybe
something
it's
going
your
wrong
phone.
with
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Reducing portions, perhaps not such a bad thing, and then being charged. It's a curious one, isn't it? Reduced portions if you're being charged less, but really the restaurant's getting the money they're
But
not
you know
charging you.
what? We need to reduce portions.
Yeah,
we
true.
have got like America where everything is so huge.
Very true.
And don't you find yourself thinking, oh, I've paid for that now, I'll eat it all. And sometimes a quarter of it, really, you could leave, couldn't you? So I don't think that's a bad thing.
Can I just share this? I just want to share this really funny story with you guys. It's trending at number 1. Pub that slammed entitled toddlers.
Oh,
Did you see this?
Yeah.
So a party of people, women, someone called Jo was celebrating her sister-in-law's 50th birthday, and she claimed that her party spent £700 in a pub called the Cowshed in Hucknall on drinks and pizza before they were asked to leave by staff with an awful attitude for being too drunk. That's the kind of review that can destroy a business, or can certainly damage a business. But the pub owner went online and replied in the most brutal way, telling this customer her party acted like belligerent, entitled little toddlers from the moment you walked through our gates. Now, we're not in a position to be able to judge who's right or who's wrong.
We don't know who's right and wrong, but I do think
you see that happen sometimes.
we have this real problem in my family, right, where if we go somewhere, I would never, ever be rude. I have never been rude in any restaurant, pub, bar, anywhere that I go. But if
it wasn't me.
if something is really disgusting and I know that's going to
Oh,
cost me
it's
£16,
cringe.
I want to say,
I know, but-
and Mark, but be honest, how do I say it? I'm never
Oh,
rude.
she's always polite, but I
So
have that
say,
thing where I just don't want
I'm
to say
really
anything.
sorry, but there's just something, it's just really horrible and I can't eat it. I think,
You never say it like
no,
an
but let me
entitled-
tell
no, but you
you
never say
why.
it like
But let
an
me tell
entitled
you why I
teenager.
do that. Because I think it's shameful when people just go onto sites and could potentially finish a business
Oh, I agree.
by leaving. And every single business
Oh, I see
owner,
what you're saying.
restaurateur I've ever spoken to says, please tell us, because then we can respond. Now, very different if you go somewhere and the service has been terrible and they didn't want to listen to you and you try to complain, then I think a public forum is good. But please, guys, honestly, if something isn't good, tell them, because they do want you to tell them.
Do you think there's an
But
argument?
Mark and Maddie go, oh, please, Mum, oh, God,
Yeah,
no.
Well, no, it's just that sometimes, it's less about when you're saying something's wrong. I mean, you're right. On balance, you're right. I find it I find it excruciatingly embarrassing. And I'm the kind of person who will go
So
in.
English.
If they served shit, I just eat and go, that was lovely, thank you very much. I just wouldn't go. I would show my disapproval by just not going again and saying nothing.
Do you know what? Once, right, we
But
went
let
to
me
this
just finish.
restaurant.
Let me just finish. I was just about to finish my thought. Hang on.
Sorry, darling, I think you finished. Go on.
And what you're doing, I think, is very true. If you are going to complain, I think far better to say something to
Yeah.
them rather than actually permanently tarnish their business with a comment online. Because then that gives them the choice to either take it on board or not take it on board. And
Yeah.
you are always very kind. You're not at all sort of high maintenance. You're not like Sally and when Harry met Sally
Yeah.
or anything like that.
I did it the other day. I had a vegan burger and I'd had it the week before in this place, and it was absolutely disgusting. But I was starving. I'd waited ages for it, so I'd eaten it.
Yeah.
And so when the waitress came up, she said, "How was it? You know, they don't really want you to say." I said, "Actually," I said, "I was really hungry. I ate it, but compared to last week, it was awful." And I just whispered like that. And she said, "Oh, do you want your money back?" I said, "No, I don't want my money back." I said, "Everyone's struggling, but I just want you to know so that if a new customer comes in and has that for the first time, they don't go, I'm never going back there again."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, thank you so much."
Yeah.
But we went, last New Year's, we went to this restaurant and Mark was starving, right? And do you know what I'm going to talk about?
The gnocchi.
Do you know what gnocchi is? The little potato dumplings, right? I think it was something like
Oh, it was a stupid.
£14.
Yeah, it was a stupid amount of money. I mean, I was expecting,
He
and
had-
a big Italian bowl of it.
5 gnocchi that big.
Yeah, it was.
Not even that big. I was gagging to say, and he wouldn't let me.
It's known
And I
as the.
said,
it's-
that's not a meal. Nobody is going to be able to survive on that meal. It was disgusting.
It's-
But we will never go back there.
But
now.
it's known now in our family
Never.
history as the gnocchi incident, isn't it?
But I was like this. Let me have them.
No, I refuse steadfastly. If it's my food, I reserve the right to not say something. But that's my argument. But if it's Nadia's food, she will say something, but she'll say it very politely.
But
Very
why
politely.
would you be mortified, Katie, if you're not being rude?
Because even if you're not being rude, if people want to take it the wrong way, they can assume that saying anything is rude.
But you're not in. Okay. It's like we've gone to somebody's house and they've got a dinner party. In that case, you would never say anything, but you're paying £14
No.
we had to go and get fish and chips afterwards.
You're entirely right.
And that business will close down. I'm telling you now. And all those people in that restaurant will lose their jobs because people will not pay that.
Yeah, but you're coming from the same perspective, which is absolutely right, as Gordon Ramsay does in his best series ever, which is Kitchen Nightmares, isn't it? I mean, he's right. It's tough love, and and it has to come from someone. But you know, sometimes
90%
it's just about...
of restaurants close in the first year. And I think a big problem in this country, because it is in this country, we just won't say if we don't like it. And it's the strangest thing. Do you think it's because a lot of people don't cook in this country and they'd be offended if somebody said it about their food?
I think we at times as a nation could be very small-minded. I do genuinely. I think we're very sort of weird, aren't we? We're sort of very kind of, but at the same time, we're very sort of stiff upper lip. I think I'm very English in the way that I won't want to say anything. I don't want to cause and it's not that you are causing offence, because you're actually saying it as constructive criticism to help the business. Rachel Sayers, it's like in the hairdressers when you smile and say thanks even though they've ruined your hair.
I wouldn't say anything in the hairdresser.
Would you not?
Too late. No, because
you can't do anything about it.
Because
Well, you can't do
maybe you
anything
just
about
haven't
eating it.
communicated it right, or two people's perception of one thing can be very different. It's subjective. But when you get 4 pieces of gnocchi for 14, 16 quid, everyone's in on the con. You've been mugged.
Right. Sadie's Jeffs. I found a coffee pot handle. Sorry, I don't know why this makes me laugh. I found a coffee pot handle in my takeaway Starbucks cup. They hadn't noticed, and when I went back in, they were so rude and made out like it was my fault.
See, that's disgusting.
You found part of their equipment in your drink.
And they managed to make it. Now that is an instance that I would go onto TripAdvisor and say it, because you've gone back, you've told them, and they've been rude to you. But I love what this pub has done. I love that.
Yeah. Mark Lewis, what are we up to today? Well, we're doing lots of we're using Bank Holiday Monday as an opportunity to get ahead of ourselves, because we've got a very busy week ahead of us.
Sorry, Rachel Louise. I told my hairdresser to stop cutting my hair once as I could see it going
wrong. Oh my God,
wrong.
did you take over? Did you go home and sort of take over? Oh God, I'm so looking forward to Simone sorting my hair out this week.
We went out. What was
We went out last Mother's Day.
and
Purple
the meal was
snowdrop.
cold. It was a roast. I said about it. They just shrugged and said, "Okay."
Wow.
That's just disgusting. You see. Then you go on to TripAdvisor. But first of all, try and get it sorted.
Hit the thumbs up icon if you'd like me to go for a little search for some more news. During the week, we sometimes do this, where we go on a little trawl. And do you remember
Guess
one
what
day...
I'm doing straight after this? Calling Holland about your...
Oh, fantastic.
About your
my pregnancy suit.
suit.
Oh, wow.
No, not pregnancy suit. We keep
What is
saying
it?
that. Your machine to induce pregnancy pain.
Suddenly,
Labour
my
pain.
entire abdomen just went... oh my God, a child in Taiwan was caught in a kite and swept high into the air.
Oh my God, that's awful.
A kite flying festival turned
Three-year-old.
terrifying as a 3-year-old girl became entangled in the tail.
Can you imagine that?
Oh my God, there's a photograph of her in the sky. Go to the CNN website.
She's been picked up by a kite. And
She
what
miraculously
happened?
only suffered minor injuries.
Oh, thank God. Little
Oh
grazes.
my
Oh, bless her, sweetheart.
God.
She'll get anxiety over that, won't she?
Jesus.
I wonder, mind you, she might have enjoyed it. She might have just gone,
Well,
woo,
to
she's
her,
all
it
right,
might-
she was fine.
She's fine.
For a
she's
minute
fine.
then, I thought, oh
my God.
What's that about, Gemma?
Gemma Collins is thrilled. We're looking forward to what now. You do know that I Hate Susie is all available to watch. They're broadcasting it on Mondays, Sundays, or whenever. Is it tonight? I can't remember when but they're all available. But Gemma Collins was thrilled as she was name-checked in Billy Piper's I Hate Susie show. Yeah, she loves getting a good mention, doesn't she, old Gemma? I'm a Celebrity Boss is set to spoil stars with lavish choice of hotel in Wales. What is all this story about it happening in a castle? Is it not working very
I've
well?
lost a bit of interest, I have
So
to
have
say.
I.
Apparently, yeah.
Are they going to scare them to
It'd
death?
probably be really good. They're throwing them in freezing lakes and all that sort of stuff, so I think they're finding it quite hard to get people to agree to do it.
Oh.
I wouldn't do it. However much money they offered me, I wouldn't do it.
Oh.
No way. Can you imagine how miserable it's going to be? They're probably going to have them like, God, Adele. Adele just looks tiny.
Yeah, there's just an image here of Adele looking completely sort of different, doesn't she?
China attempts to spur concern.
Good news. Do you want some good news? You know, I've been banging
Yeah,
on about
please. I'm
cinema.
looking for
Well,
some.
I'm talking about cinema here, but Tenet, which, you know, go and check out our review on the channel. A bit confusing for some, but certainly cinematic for many. Has enjoyed a solid opening outside of America,
we
which
need
suggests
to save cinema.
yeah,
Go and see it,
it's
guys.
good news for cinemas.
And don't forget to go and see Baby Teeth, because
Yeah.
that's so
Good news for cinemas, and it's good news for all the ancillary businesses around cinemas. So, you know, if more people are going out, it's like, you know, it's that microscope,
look
it's
at
all the
that.
industries around it.
Meghan met Jamelia Jamil at her home after actress calls Andrew pedo.
Whoa.
Well, new news today. Ghislaine Maxwell, the first person after lockdown, and you've got to think she's in a prison where people have been waiting months and months before she was even in. She was the first one to get a visit from her attorney, and everyone else gets an hour, and she got 3 hours.
Wow.
It started.
Preferential treatment, eh?
Yeah. Okay, guys,
All right,
we
guys,
gotta go.
have a lovely day.
At 11:30 on my Instagram, I'm doing a workout with Dance Your Tits Off if you want to join me and do a bit of a jump about. It's nothing too difficult, and you can always choose an easier option. It's only 20 minutes. Yeah, if you're feeling a bit anxious, if you're feeling a bit in yourself, just come. It's honestly just us moving about a bit.
Yeah.
Nothing more complicated than that.
And you never know, if you pre-order our book, it might get to you before Thursday, and you could sit with it, and we could talk to you about what's in it. You never
Yeah.
know. But the other thing is, Anne-Marie just...
Heater, thank you, Vicky Kinsey. Heater,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm going to do it now.
And
Let me
Anne-Marie's
get my
just reminded me, go and check out our reaction to Millie Bobby Brown's Enola Holmes trailer. It
Yeah.
looks like a
That's
cracking
That's the
film.
thing that Mark and the girls went on the set
Visit
to
of, yeah,
visit
yeah.
Millie on, and they
Yeah.
loved it. They had such a good
It looks
time.
great fun. So, haven't seen Unhinged, but I am looking forward to seeing it. It's Russell Crowe, isn't it? Being very dark and disturbing. Anyway, guys, have a lovely day. There is a vlog landing later, and see you soon.
Bye.